Thanks for clicking on the Morning Swim Show. I'm your host, Peter Bush. Hope you're having a nice weekend. We have another great show for you today. We're continuing to dip our toes into open water swimming today with an interview with Todd Robinson, who just set a world record crossing the Catalina Channel off the coast of California. And on Monday, we're going to talk to Fran Crippen. He's going to tell us about his World Championship experience and that controversial finish in the 10K race. Before we get to Todd Robinson today, let's take a look at USA Swimming's list of swimmers on the 2009-2010 national team. The top 6 American times in each Olympic event make the national team. Here are a few of the names. Should not surprise you that Michael Phelps and Ryan Lochte headlined the men's teams. Lochte made the team in 5 different individual events: the 200 IM, 400 IM, 100 free, 200 free, and 200 back. Phelps only made the team in the 200 free and both butterflies. According to USA Swimming rules, his leadoff swim and that 400 free relay at Worlds would not count for national team inclusion. Something tells me Michael's not too offended. Also qualifying in 4 events, one of our show's favorites, Elizabeth Beisel, the senior in high school, had a very, very nice meet in Rome. And Tyler Clary, another favorite here on the Morning Swim Show, he made the team in 4 events as well. Sabir Muhammad, he made the national team in the 50 free 5 years after essentially retiring from the sport. Sabir was 8th in the 100 free and 4th in the 50 at the 2004 Olympic trials, missing the Olympic team by a couple of places in both events. He surprised a lot of people last month in Indianapolis when he made the final of the 50 free at World Trials, ending up in 8th place. You can read the full roster of USA Swimming's website. That's usaswimming.org. All right, back to open water swimming. Todd Robinson has a very interesting life story. He grew up in Tokyo, went to high school in New Orleans, college at Berkeley. Now he works in the U.S. Attorney's Office prosecuting gang members. He spends his free time swimming hour after hour in the La Jolla Cove, and his training paid off big time on Tuesday. He broke the world record in the Catalina Channel swim. That's about 8 hours and 5 minutes worth. And joining us right now in San Diego on Skype, Todd Robinson. Todd, welcome to the Morning Swim Show.
Morning, Peter. Thanks for having me on the show.
Well, tell us about the swim. You sent us some great pictures, so tell us about the swim, and we'll show people what you're talking about.
Well, it was a 21-mile swim, and what we tried to do is start it at right around midnight so we could get some smooth water, what we hoped was going to be some smooth water. Wound up getting a little bit of chop coming across the channel. We had about an hour and a half of pretty smooth water, but other than that, it was a little choppy. So most of the swim took place during the middle of the night, which for me was a unique experience. I'd never swum in the middle of the night like that before.
It's just 8 hours in the middle of the night swimming. There's got to be a lot of help there, right, guiding you along?
Absolutely. From the moment I made the decision to do the channel earlier this year and booked my boat and made that commitment, I had a group of 8 people who stuck with me throughout the whole summer. They trained with me out in the La Jolla Cove. They staggered their start times so that the longer swims that I was doing, I had company when I was doing those longer swims. And in the event itself, they got in the water 30, 45-minute stints to pace me all the way across the channel. So there's no way I would have been successful the way in which I was able to accomplish the swim without the support that I had on the boat.
Now, you did the swim wearing just a nylon brief. I mean, is there a reason you don't wear either something to keep you warmer or one of the high-tech suits that can make you go faster?
Well, I sure would have liked to put my Blue 70 suit on. I think it would have helped me out. But the Channel Federation, the one that sanctions the swims, has pretty strict rules regarding what you can wear and what you can't wear when you cross the channel. The swimsuit has to be porous. So I went old school with a nylon suit, the same suit that I wore training throughout the summertime, and I did put a cap on to try and keep on a little bit of the heat because the temperature on the way across was pretty much steady, 66 to 68 all the way across the channel, with the exception of the last 3 miles when it dipped to about 60 degrees.
What is the finish like? I mean, when do they actually stop the clock? Do you have to get out and run as you do with most competitions, or because you were doing this by yourself? Was it a little bit different?
You have to come out of the water and clear the water for the start, so your feet have to be on dry sand, and at the finish you similarly have to clear the water. So the closest point is a point which has boulders and rocks and so forth, and quite honestly my finish was not spectacular. I pretty much crawled out of the ocean until I reached dry rocks. And got a couple of cuts and bruises in the process. Well, in that kind of environment, you don't exactly want to dive for the finish line. No, and it's hard going from horizontal after 8 hours of being horizontal and pounding away at a swim to trying to go upright at the finish on some slippery rocks. So it was a bit of a tricky finish. Physically, that takes a toll, but how about mentally? I mean, when you do an event that extreme, is there a psychological factor that comes in afterwards that, maybe a letdown of the high of preparing and doing the event, or how do you feel mentally after that? I felt pretty good. I got a little hypothermic toward the end, but mentally speaking, I was strong all the way across. I had never done an 8-hour swim like that. My longest training swim was about 5.5, 6 hours, and didn't know how swimming at night was going to affect me mentally, but I think having the support I had on the boat, my kayakers were fantastic, and there was only one mentally challenging aspect of the swim. I knew that hour 4 to 5 was going to be the most difficult part of the swim for me, because the sun wouldn't be up yet, and some of my pace swimmers shortened their time that they were in the water. I had gauged the first 4 swimmers at doing an hour stint apiece, and some of them moved back to 45 minutes. So while I thought I was already in that 5th hour of the swim, I was really still back in the 4th hour, so I had to readjust mentally after I realized that I had made that miscalculation. What was your goal time? I wanted to keep as close as I could to a low 20-minute mile pace. Open water swimming, as everyone watching this who does open water races, you take what you're dealt on the day of the race or the day of the swim, and the conditions really control your ability to go fast or even to participate in the swim. So I was fortunate the conditions were good enough so that I could maintain a pretty steady pace and a pretty quick pace all the way across the channel. Where do you go from there? I mean, is there a hunger to do something even more extreme, a distance even greater, or will that be the longest swim you ever do? I don't know at this point. There are a couple of challenging swims that, of course, people talk about. The swim around Manhattan is one of the big swims for people who do these types of events, clearly the English Channel. But that's an entirely different swim. Although it's a 21-mile swim, much like the Catalina Channel, the water temperature is significantly lower in the English Channel. And I'd probably have to gain a little bit of weight in order to successfully deal with the cold water. But in the immediate future, a week from tomorrow, I'm going to do the Maui Channel swim, which at 9 miles is going to be significantly quicker than going across the Catalina Channel. Well, Todd, good luck to you, and good luck in court today. Thank you, Peter. I appreciate it. All right, that's Todd Robinson joining us from his office in San Diego. Appreciate him joining us, and that's our show for today. Hope you have a great weekend. I'm Peter Bush, reminding you to keep your head down at the finish.